Okay. So key insight framework, the idea that clearly communicates the what that is the solution to their problems. Okay. So we want to have a framework. So our framework is going to teach about systems. It is going to explain to small business owners that systems are the key, and specifically marketing systems are the key to them being able to escape the ever increasing treadmill that they're on, where they feel like they're just getting busier and busier, but they're never getting ahead financially. That's the way almost all small business owners feel. Okay. That's the way small businesses are operating. It's brutal. Okay. And that's typically why they're small businesses. So the E Myth, which if you have not read the E Myth, you must read the E Myth. Look, I have a copy on my desk. That's how important it is to me. And I first read this book probably 25 years ago, something like that. And it's still, I have multiple copies of this just laying around because it's just always front and center in my mind. So the E Myth taught us that most small businesses are just running around frantically, and that successful businesses organize around business functions, not people. They build systems within each important business function and then let the systems run the business and the people run the systems. People come and go, but the systems remain constant. Okay. This is true of any successful small business. If you've ever worked in a McDonald's, McDonald's is just systems, right? And that's why when one kid quits, they can have a new kid in there the next day and the McDonald's just keeps on cruising because it's a system. It's very easy to train somebody. Hey, here's the 6 steps to the system. Here's how you make a cheeseburger. Come in and make a cheeseburger. You're making cheeseburgers all day following this system, right? But most small businesses do not operate that way. They've got some person that started the business that had some degree of talent. I was a good pizza maker, whatever it is. And they just got busy. And now they're just in there making pizza. And the business owner is still just making pizza. And everybody that they hire, they quickly believe is an idiot because that person can't make pizza as good as they can. And so they end up just get out of my way. I'm going to make the pizza myself. Right. And making the pizza is a metaphor. It could be applied to anything. You're the chiropractor, you're the roofer, you're the whatever it is. The business owner stays locked in this cycle of just doing because they never develop the systems that allow them to step back and get consistent results, even with somebody who's less talented and less experienced than them running the system. So systems bring consistency and predictability. And in today's world, they bring automation, right? So these small business owners can start to get ahead and have costs taken out of the process of delivering their product or service. And so the reason why you're not growing is that you don't have marketing systems in place. And then when that typical small business owner goes, yeah, but I invested in SEO for 3 months and it didn't work. And you go, yeah, that's right. Because you invested in one particular strategy instead of putting the foundational systems in place that would allow your business to take advantage of SEO or more visibility from some, other advertising approach or whatever it is. And so we're going to educate on these systems. Okay. So this is key insight framework number 1. And so there's 2 really important things that we are going to teach in this use of these frameworks. Okay. The first thing that we're going to teach is just what the heck marketing is. And I'm not joking about that. If I asked you before I show you this slide here, if I asked you on this call, what is marketing? I'll get a huge variation in answers. Okay. If you go out and you ask 100 small businesses, the pizza shop owner, the chiropractor, whatever, what is marketing? The far, far majority of them are either going to look at you cross-eyed and don't know, or they're going to say it's SEO or it's advertising, right? That's going to be their answer. That's what they're going to think of as marketing. And that, of course, is a very, very limited answer. And so we are, for the first time, going to teach what marketing even is. That's the key insight. Okay. That's part of the key insight. The other key insight that we're going to teach is that it is systems that allow us to effectively pull off this marketing. Okay. Otherwise, as a small business, we're not going to be able to get it done without systems. We can't afford a whole marketing team. We can't afford tons of expensive advertising like major Fortune 500 companies can. We have to have systems to pull this off. Okay. So, framework number one, I'm curious, how is it that you think about marketing at your business? What is marketing to you? And you know what? Let me explain to you what I mean, because I think it'll be an eye opener as to how you can apply this to grow your business. Okay. We think of marketing as these three stages to attract new customers to your business or attract new prospects, convert them into customers, and then retain them as long as possible. Okay. That's what marketing is. It is this process of attracting new prospects, converting them into customers, and keeping them as long as possible. Right. So, nice and simple, three core stages that define marketing. Okay. Anybody can understand that. Right. I didn't use any fancy marketing lingo from our industry or anything like that. No techno mumbo jumbo. Very simply, we're trying to attract new prospects, convert them into customers, retain them as long as possible. Okay. And then further, we have found that there are these 6 keys to success in executing those 3 stages. And fortunately for us, they all begin with R. And that's why it's our R6 framework. And of course, it just makes it nice and easy for us to remember. Okay. So if we are going to attract new prospects consistently to us, and ideally we want to attract more and more prospects to us over time, there are 2 keys to success: reach. So how many people are we reaching with our message, with our advertising, with the word about our products and services? The more people that hear about us, the more that can potentially buy from us. Or to say that in reverse, if you've never heard of us, you can't buy from us. So we need to reach people. And then the second R here, that's a key to success in attraction, is reputation, right? If we have a bad reputation, well, reaching more and more people isn't going to do us very good to attract them, right? All that's going to do is just repel more and more people. It's just going to have more and more people that know of our bad reputation and our bad products, bad services. So building and protecting and nurturing our reputation so that when people do hear about us, they hear good things. They go check the reviews, and the reviews are good. And there's all kinds of things that make up our reputation in today's world. You know, do they find that we're active on social media and we're posting content that they can relate to? Do we actually pick up the phone when they try and call us? Do we respond to emails? All of those things impact our reputation. So reach and reputation are the 2 keys to success of phase 1, attract. Then there's phase 2, convert. And the 2 keys to success there are readiness and remarketing. What do we mean by readiness? Readiness simply means, are you ready to do business? Does the phone get picked up? Which over 60% of small business phone calls don't get picked up, right? So go spend a lot of money on an advertising campaign and you don't pick up more than 60% of the phone calls. Obviously, the effectiveness of that advertising campaign is going to be pretty poor. Readiness is, do we have a chat bot on our website? Do we have a lead magnet and offer to capture their information and make sure we get them on our newsletter and get them into our pipeline? Do we have AI picking up, answering the phone if we miss it in person? These are all things, do you have the ability to book directly on your website rather than having to call in the first place? Can I just on your website, book an appointment? These are all things that are factors of readiness to do business. And then remarketing means that in spite of all of our best efforts to just attract you and convert you into a customer, the reality is that the far majority of people don't convert into customers right away. And so we need to continue to remarket to them. We do that through newsletters. We can do that through retargeting ads. We can do that in a variety of different ways. But are we staying in front of those prospects? Because we acknowledge the reality that there is a time window that oftentimes takes longer time to get somebody to convert. And we want to stay in front of those interested people so that they don't forget about us. And then finally, retain. And there's 2 keys to success in retaining customers long term. The first one is reliability. And I'm going to get to that one in a minute. The second one is reselling. Reselling means that once we have a customer, our job as marketers isn't done, right? The customer came in today. We don't want to just assume that they're going to come back and continue with us. We want to send them a follow up, make sure they have an offer, a coupon, whatever it is, to come back and bring a friend or whatever. Our marketing job always needs to be maintained. We're always marketing. And so we're always making additional offers to our customers, reminding them of us, reminding them of our products and services, reminding them of our value so that they continue to come back and buy from us. And then there's this final one, reliability, which I skipped over there. And that's your job. That's where you really come in here. And that is, how reliably are you delivering on your promise? Okay. When I come, does somebody greet me with a smile? Right? Does it take a reasonable amount of time? Are the bathrooms clean? If we can put a checkbox next to all those things, then you are reliably delivering on the promise that we're marketing, right? If we're out there marketing about coming into our great business and then it's only amazing half the time and the bathrooms are disgusting, guess what? We can do all the marketing in the world. Your business is still going to struggle. So it is incredibly important that when it comes to marketing your business effectively, that we are working with businesses that understand that and are bought into that and are committed to doing the very best job that they can be to taking care of their customers. Otherwise, all this marketing stuff is just a waste of time and money. Does all that make sense to you? And all of that makes sense to anybody, right? That's a simple explanation of what marketing is and what you need to do to be successful. This is exactly how I would explain this framework if I was sitting with you. Okay. And I would ask you if you have any questions about any of this. Do you understand what marketing is? Does that make sense to you? Does it simplify it for you? Do you understand why it's not just SEO or why it's not just a single ad campaign that's going to change your business? Okay. And again, any small business owner, whether you sell pizzas or chiropractic services, understands this because we're just using good old regular plain English common words. We're not using anything fancy. We're not using any industry lingo. Okay. So that is framework number one. The great thing about this, folks, is that you can learn this framework by tomorrow. And when you learn to framework, you are already head and shoulders above the far majority of people out there. Okay. So that's step one. And step two, the second framework, we're taking those 6 marketing success factors. So these are the 6 R's that went along with the 3 phases in framework one. And I am now stacking them. And so we stack them up in this pyramid like this because we want to show essentially that there is a foundation that needs to be put in place to make your business marketing successful. And so what I mean is that down at the base of the pyramid is reliability. And so again, what we are communicating is, hey, look, if you're not committed to doing a really good job with your products and services, no marketing is really going to be effective. This is a really important qualifier. So this is a very important qualifier because we want you to go, yes, that's what I'm passionate about. Okay. So great. That's the foundation. Now, the first thing or the next thing then on this pyramid is that your reputation and how you're viewed and experienced by prospects and customers in the marketplace is critical because you may have the best product, but if your reputation is bad, it's not going to matter if you have the best product. So we want to make sure that we've got the systems and processes in place to ensure that you have a good reputation out there in the marketplace. And then next is readiness. Readiness, again, how responsive are you to the opportunities from prospects and customers? So are you picking up your phone? Do you have another way for people to reach you? Text, social media? Do you have systems in place to make sure that you're responding to those things in a timely manner? That's readiness. Is your website mobile optimized? Can people just order straight from your website so they don't have to get in touch with you? Right? Can they just book an appointment with you straight on your website so they don't have to get in touch with you? That's readiness. And then resell. So how are we maximizing the lifetime value of each customer relationship? So do we have a way of turning it into repeat business? Do we have offers that are going out the door? Do we have systems in place to make sure that we're doing that consistently? And then how are we keeping the attention of our prospects and customers over time? Remarketing. And then finally, you'll see at the very top of the pyramid is reach. And here's why this is super important is that most businesses jump right into reach campaigns. Most small business owners, that's what they think of as marketing. It's advertising, right? And it's SEO and it's social media. And all of those things are very important. But the problem is if you go and invest thousands of dollars in a marketing campaign, an advertising campaign, or SEO, and you don't have this foundation first, then the money that you're spending to get all that reach is largely going to be wasted, right? It makes sense. If you are spending a bunch of money on advertising, but you're driving people to see that you have a bunch of negative reviews, guess what? You just waste your advertising dollars. If you're not picking up 60% of your phone calls, guess what? You just waste your advertising dollars. If you don't have a plan to continue to resell and remarket to maximize the value of these new prospects that you're getting from that advertising campaign, you're just wasting your dollars. So we're making sure that we have a foundation in place at your business so that when you do spend money on advertising, it's actually really going to get the full benefit for you. And a lot of customers find out that they don't really need to spend a lot of money on advertising or any money at all when they have these systems in place because they're already getting organic success with their customers. They just need to have the systems in place to make sure that they can capitalize on that. And then they grow and they're more profitable without having to spend a ton of money on advertising. Does that make sense? Do you understand why we want to make sure that we've invested in this foundation first? Okay. So again, just about every small business owner will understand this. What have we done with those two frameworks? We have explained what marketing is and how you do it successfully. And then we have explained that if you don't have this foundation of systems in place first, and you go and invest a bunch of money in reach, you're wasting a bunch of money, right? And you're not going to get ahead because you're not going to get consistent results. You're going to spend money and then you're going to panic because you didn't get the results that you want. You're not going to spend any money on advertising again for another 6 months. You're going to panic because your business is slowing down. So you're going to invest in more advertising and you're going to be on this awful up and down roller coaster. And most small business owners will go, yep, that's exactly where I'm at. Right. So now with those two frameworks, these key insights are going to completely change your marketing. Right. So those two key frameworks, again, those are our key insight frameworks. Those two things are going to position us as that leader. Because I guarantee you, no small business owner has had marketing explained to them like that. Nobody has had the clarity to go, okay, yeah, I know what marketing is now. It's attract, convert, retain. Cool. And I know that if I'm spending a bunch of money on advertising and I don't have the systems in place for these other key success factors, I can understand why it feels like I'm wasting a ton of money. Why I've invested in advertising before and it didn't work. Why I invested in lead generation before and it didn't work. Why I invested in SEO before and it didn't work, which is what almost all small businesses can tell you. Yeah, I already invested in this and that and it didn't work. And the reason why it didn't work is because they don't have marketing systems in place. They were just doing one-off campaigns and hoping that their business would grow. If you've been around me for any period of time, you know that one of my favorite business sayings in the world, and not just business sayings, just sayings, is hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. And in business, that is so damn true that if you're just creating an advertising campaign and hoping, but you don't have the rest of the systems in place to ensure you have the best chance of success, that is no way to grow a business. Okay. So by walking through those frameworks, you're giving the insight to understand there is a better way.